He waited 2 additional days? We'll find out what that means today on Bible Time. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me for Bible Time. Well, we know the story. Some of us, maybe you don't. John chapter 11, the story of Lazarus who died, and Jesus rose him from the dead. So the question comes to me as, why did Jesus wait 2 days when he knew Lazarus was sick? If we begin at the beginning of John chapter 11, we find out that someone came to tell Jesus that Lazarus, the brother of Mary and Martha, whom he loved very much, he had become sick, and they wanted him to come and heal Lazarus because their faith in him knew that he could heal Lazarus and make him well again. So, as the story goes on, Jesus waits 2 more days, and the disciples are with him, and he says, come on, it's time for us to go to Judea. His disciples say, no, they're trying to kill you, and they will kill us if we go there. And he says, you will see the glory of God, and the Son of God will be glorified. He said, Lazarus is dead. Now, let's go take care of him and wake him up. The disciples thought he was just taking a nap because Jesus said he had fallen asleep. So they go. Everybody comes running and says, Lazarus is dead. And Jesus said, where have you laid him? And here in this chapter, we have the shortest verse in the Bible. Jesus wept. When he found out where Lazarus had been laid, everyone's crying. Jesus cried as well. Shows his human side for sure. But when he walks up to the grave, there's a stone in front of it. Where have I heard that one before? And he says, roll the stone away. And someone says, come on, man. He's been dead 4 days. Can you imagine what he smells like after 4 days? Yeah, I know what you mean. But Jesus said, have I not told you? If you believed in me, you would have everlasting life. See, what he's doing here is God is taking Jesus to a new level. He's taking the people's faith to a new level. It's one thing to believe that this man can heal the sick, make the lame walk. He can turn water into wine. He can do all kinds of things. But can he raise someone from the dead? Jesus stayed on for 2 days so that Lazarus would die. Yeah. And then it was a journey to get there, so that's where you get the 4 days. If he'd have got there, if he'd have left 2 days earlier, on probably a 2-day journey, he probably would have got there maybe right before he died, or right as he died. Maybe they wouldn't have known he was dead. But because he waited 2 days, and then it was a 2-day journey, that's 4 days. And in that 4 days, he died. So God had every intention of making Jesus wait so that Lazarus would die. Now, it wasn't 3 days. That's Jesus's, to be dead for 3 days and 3 nights and rise. But he waited, and he said to him, Lazarus, rise. Lazarus walks out. Jesus says, take the grave cloths off him. He doesn't need it. He rose someone from the dead. Now, Lazarus did die again. Lazarus is in heaven now. But in that brief moment, a second chance. So that we could see that when it seemed like all hope was lost, when it seemed like there's just no way this is going to come out to be the way it was, he still came back from the dead. So, beyond that, this proved, Jesus told his disciples, I'm taking you to new ground. You're going to see new things. And his disciples didn't quite get it. Thomas, in fact, said, let's go with him. We'll die too. There's no faith in that. But of course, we know that Thomas was the doubting Thomas. But what I'm getting at is when God says something will happen, whether he speaks to you directly, he speaks through the prophets, he speaks through his word, however he speaks, if God says it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And And you can take that to the bank. You can rely on that. It's going to happen. So, God told many people prior to 2020 that a great revival was coming. And in fact, Chad McLeish, if you're watching, I told you a big snowstorm was coming. You know what God told me the other day? I didn't tell you the year. So this winter, look out, we might be in for a big wallop of a snowstorm. I don't know, we'll see. But what I'm getting at is when God says it's going to happen, and you know definitively that God spoke that it would happen, it will happen. Now, not always the way you think, but it will happen. That's what he's trying to teach us here. He said, Lazarus will live. How can he? He's dead. God said it will happen. And guess what? Lazarus lived. The Bible doesn't tell us for how much longer, but he lived. So when you know that God's telling you something, when you know, believe it. Don't let go of it. Hang on to it and cherish it. Because God's words do not return empty, ever. If he said it will happen, you believe it will happen, it'll happen. He doesn't always give us a time. In fact, he told us no one knows the day or the hour, but he will return. That's your Bible time for today. I hope you enjoyed it. See you again next time, and God bless you all.